To discuss all this, let's speak now to Conservative MP Sir Jake Berry, who joins us from the Central Lobby. Good afternoon to you, Sir Jake.
Good afternoon, how are you?
Very well. Jake, there's a long delay. We should explain to the audience the communications between Westminster and the rest of the world are very weak, but good to have you on board. Now, you voted for the amendments last night, but you've expressed your doubts about voting against the main bill because that might topple the Tory government. How many more of those who voted for the amendments will follow your lead and back the government for the reading of the main bill?
Well, just to be clear, the votes that took place yesterday and today, that's MPs doing their job. We are trying to improve this legislation. In terms of expressing doubts, I actually honestly haven't made my mind up about what I'm going to do on third reading. I'm expecting the government to make some significant compromises and concessions to Conservative MPs today to toughen up this legislation. And if that happens, I may support it or I may vote against it if it doesn't. I genuinely haven't made my mind up.
So, Jake, having not made your mind up, what would push you in one direction or the other?
Well, my big concern is these things called Rule 39 orders, which are these pyjama judges, these foreign judges who get dragged out of bed in the middle of the night and overrule British courts and British Parliament and sort of ground planes going to Rwanda. The big vote for me today is the amendment trying to say to the government, if a foreign judge decides to frustrate this legislation passed by our sovereign parliament here in the United Kingdom, will government ministers ignore that ruling? That's what the amendment says. Ideally, I'd like that to be in the law to say that the government ministers have to ignore it. But I do understand from the government whips and people talking amongst the group of MPs trying to toughen up this law that we are going to hear significant concessions from the government saying absolutely they plan to overrule these foreign judges. I'm just a bit old-fashioned. I think if the British Parliament passes a law to try and stop people coming to our country illegally, that should be the end of it. End of. No judges in Strasbourg, no last-minute appeals taking people off planes. Let's do what the British people want and stop these boats by processing people in Rwanda.
Well, Jake, thank you so much for your time, and we know we can rely on you to come to a wise and sensible decision because he's a TalkTV presenter as well. But good to talk to Jake there.